I'm not one to make commentary. Most of these random access videos are usually unboxings or channel updates or other random observations about a specific machine. But there is a tweet that came up on my Twitter feed very recently in the last 24 hours or so that I just had to pass comment on because it's something that I find very relatable, and I think it's something that may be weighing on the minds of other vintage computer enthusiasts. This tweet was from a dude called Neil, and he says, "Sometimes I feel like I'm not a real vintage computer person on Twitter. All I've done is buy vintage Macs and PCs, assemble them, make very minor repairs, install upgrades, and play with them, and that's it." Dude, you are a real vintage computer person, because if you're not a real vintage computer person, then neither am I. Let's just go through what I've done. I've bought vintage Macs. I haven't bought a vintage PC yet. Assemble them, yep, I've put together vintage PCs. Make very minor repairs. The last repair I did was just change a frickin' ROM chip. If that's not a minor repair, I don't know what is. Install upgrades, yes, well I have done that. And play with them. I think I've played with most of my vintage computers. Obviously I don't use them constantly because I've got lots of things to do and there is a bit of a collection, but I do play with them from time to time. I'd probably play with them a bit more once I've bought some more upgrades. Case in point, Commodore 64G, I'd probably play with that G more once I get some sort of modern and reliable way to load games and whatnot. But I've got so many other projects on the go that I can't justify buying one of those at the minute, but that's something I want to do somewhere along the track. You've got to pace yourself with this hobby. Neil goes on to say, "I don't have a large collection. I've never bought a battery explosion or barn-fired computer back to life. I don't have a single item that's relatively rare or valuable. I don't have the talent to hack up new software or hardware, and I'm too boring to make engaging videos." I've never brought a battery explosion or barn-fired computer back to... Oh, hang on. Well, yeah, I've done that, but nothing major. All I've done, the most extreme thing I've ever done is do an internal restoration on a ZX Spectrum that was a bit ropey when I got it. Recapping a ZX Spectrum, there are hundreds of videos showing you how to recap a Speccy, which is why I haven't made one and why I probably never will make one, but I digress. I don't have a single item that's relatively rare or valuable. Look, the items I have which are a little bit unusual, they're not particularly rare or valuable depending on the context. So, for example, my Micro B, which I would love to show on the channel one day, relatively common in Australia, would be rare or valuable possibly somewhere like the UK or the USA. Conversely, in my hoard of BBC Micros that I have, which I will start showing once I get a chance to start repairing them, I have a BBC Model B Plus 128. Possibly the least common of all the BBC Micros, and especially uncommon here in Australia. That's enough. You don't need to whilst there is plenty of cool machines out there that big-time collectors are flexing on or whatever, that's cool. I just love the fact that someone somewhere is preserving them and showing them off for the world to see. I don't think it's a reason to kind of feel like you're inadequate in terms of the hobby, and if you've got a hobby that's making you feel inadequate, then it might be time to rethink the relationship with the hobby. I don't have the talent to hack up new software or hardware. Neither do I. That's why I end up buying a lot of his stuff from people that do have the talent to hack new software or hardware. And the thing is that by supporting these people, supporting the vendors and the designers that make this stuff and sell this stuff, you are a real vintage computer person. The more people that buy these things, the more incentive there is for the creators to develop more. And the final point that Neil makes in this second of 3 tweets is that he's too boring to make engaging videos. Hello? I'm boring myself making this very video as I sit here in front of my newish microphone. This is essentially just a microphone test, by the way. Yeah, so look, if someone as boring as me can persevere with this, then, and videos are a pain in the ass to make. They do take a while. Even relatively crap ones take time. So anyone that has a go, no matter what skill level, no matter what experience, age, all that sort of stuff, it doesn't matter. If you have a go, then you're going to get an upvote from me regardless, unless you do something or say something really stupid, like taking a Dremel to a prototype IBM, which actually dovetails nicely into the third tweet that Neil sent. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy collecting, fixing and playing with these machines, but sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough to call myself a vintage computer geek. On the plus side, at least I haven't managed to destroy one due to incompetence. Calling yourself a vintage computer geek, that reminds me of the old graphic going around the internet about the difference between a geek and a nerd. A geek is someone that makes cool stuff, whereas a nerd is someone that understands cool stuff. Neil, you're a vintage computer nerd, mate, and that's a good thing. That is a really good thing because that still makes you a vintage computer person. I'm a vintage computer nerd. I don't think I'll ever have the cred to become a fully fledged geek. Even if I had the talent, I don't have the time. And even if I had the time and the talent, I'd probably still be inclined to go and purchase items from other geeks just to encourage them to keep making stuff for the community at large. So Neil, if you're watching this, you're probably not, but if you watch this, then mate, we're all in the same boat. So just don't beat yourself up over it. Until next time, see you later.